Hey, how you doing? Oh, there's more, don't worry. It's just a talk radio version that we do for the show. To let you know the clipboard are coming up, we always try to, let you know what you're in for on the OMSR. There's no bait and switch tactics here. And the thing of it is, why we do it this way, there's also a longer show at the end, but as Gen 2.0 has gone on this year, Generation 2, which I have sort of cut out of the descriptions, but in the longer football shows, I made it very clear. We've been doing this for a while. This is, between the two, like getting close to 600. But the talk radio version, it's quicker, short and sweet, get to the point with regard to the particular sporting event being covered. In this case, that's being the Rose Bowl. So the clipboard are coming up, second half highlights. But it's become difficult this year as opposed to last year to show anything at length. Now, what I mean by that is last year I had all the bowl games up in their 20 minutes worth of, a vignette, Michigan Tech and so forth and so on, 3 parts of the national championship game, 30 minutes here, and it's like that. And there's some little entity running around now on YouTube that thinks they own all that, and they will ding you when they're just a licensee. Fine, we were here first, but we'll play the game. So it's not a 15-minute sports highlight reel, but it's not no 4 minutes either, so you understand. All right, so the second half coming up with Stanford and Wisconsin. And I have to say, it's always interesting. We have quite a few Stanford bits on this channel. You look back at the Notre Dame game, Stanford was the one team who should have beaten Notre Dame. And we're not counting Pitt because Pitt should have lost, because Pitt was the monkey wrench in West Virginia's national championship chances 2 out of the last 3 years. So it was meant to be. But Stanford did not get the benefit of that replay call. Stephon Taylor did get the ball over before he was down. Whatever. Stanford proved that the Pac-12 is a tough as nails conference, considering that they beat up on Wisconsin, who beat up on Nebraska, who got totally beat up on by UCLA, and you come back full circle, Stanford beat up on UCLA 2 times in a row. Right, so it's a good game. Some accolades there with regard to Barry Alvarez coaching. That has to be a first with the 80 there and so forth and so on. All right, so thanks for watching. Then the long show's at the end. So you're looking about, 7 minutes.
So a nice job there by Matt Canada, realizing that, hey, it's a little bit tough sledding in the interior. This Stanford defense, good job of rolling away from that pressure, but a great first half.
And to start the second half, the Badgers will have the ball, and I agree with Coach Corso. Steady down to 20.
This game will come down to the 4th quarter. We're ready for it.
Second down and 10. Phillips on a quick drop, and the pass is deflected, incomplete, and it will be 3rd and 10. And guess who? Ben Gardner. What a game the young man from Wisconsin is having.
He said he grew up a huge Ron Dayne fan, always dreamed of playing for the Badgers, didn't have a scholarship offer not only from Wisconsin, but really from anybody else. He was looking at Northern Iowa, and lo and behold, ball guys, Jack Harbaugh got an opportunity to see him play and called out to Jim Harbaugh and said, you got to look at this kid, Ben Gardner, from out here in Wisconsin. They gave him a full scholarship to go out and play at Stanford. He's had
So we start the second half, and both Wisconsin and Stanford go 3 and out. Badgers turn when you come back.
The Rose Bowl game is brought to you by Nissan. Tweet hashtag Nissan Heisman House for a chance to appear in next year's Heisman House. Allstate.
Oh yeah, we know where that house is.
The Allstate Sugar Bowl. Are you in
Pasadena favorite?
And Coca-Cola Zero. Real Coke taste and 0 calories.
A national historic landmark. The Rose Bowl Stadium was built in 1922, and that ESPN broadcast family has been associated with this great game for 25 years.
receiver 3rd down.
They're going to bring Abadaris in motion this time, which offers a little bit of a change. He has camped out to the left. Phillips rolls, comes in underneath, and that is
Hogan has gotten so much credit for keeping plays alive that, you know, remember, he's a freshman. Sometimes it's okay to throw it away or just take off and get as many yards as you can. Here he catches a break by Taylor making something out of this, and it's a big razzle-dazzle, and we're all excited, but he's very fortunate that that wasn't more of a 7 or 8 yard loss, because he's trying to always make a play, which you appreciate, but at some point you got to be willing to understand when to throw that football away.
Needs 6 on this third down. Second down and 7. This is White in motion. Play action again to Monte Ball. Phillips hit on the reach, and man wide open.
Ooh.
Chase Hammond.
That could have gone either way.
He comes down. He went straight back up with another vertical to knock that ball down.
Stanford might have been offside.
Ooh. Roughing the punter.
Terrell fields it at the 8-yard line, and he's down right away.
Roughing the catcher. Of course, that don't count.
And they ran into the kicker also.
Roughing the kicker.
No doubt.
It's 15 yards.
Run into the kicker.
What?
Defense.
What do you mean running?
5-yard penalty.
Oh. Well, he looked pretty physical to me. Surprised he was running.
Ran into. Now, that's a 4th and 17, so this will not be a first down on the 5-yard penalty.
No, that's not running into the kicker.
Protect the punter in that situation. Thank you very much, Mr. McCauley. You would have made that call and protected the punter.
I thought it was roughing. I mean,
no doubt.
A guy go into a punter like that.
Nothing to think about it. It is.
The middle linebacker.
Or it was.
I'm sorry, the safety that time actually. Who got in there? A man up.
Stupid tripod. Yeah, we're just adjusting the tripod here. Don't worry.
Herbie, the whole idea of that is when you get a defenseless punter with the leg up in the air, you can break a leg or something with
hyperextend, which is even more painful than breaking a leg. All you, everyone out there who's ever hyperextended a knee, raise your hand.
Well, you are making tires that go the distance.
Ever wonder what all these, I mean, obviously had a ticket because the gate's way back here if you've never been to Pasadena. What are they doing out here when the game's going on?
We would show you Coach Shaw's bonus in this game, folks, but remember, Stanford is a private deal. But I want you to notice, and Herbie, there are 6 other coaches moving on after this game. But all of them are working here today under Alvarez in this Rose Bowl. Remarkable.
I don't know if we've ever seen that in the Rose Bowl. It's such an accomplishment for a staff and for players to get to the granddaddy of them all. I've never seen this many coaches, after they play in this game and coach in this game, they take a shower. They're all getting on different planes to go to different schools.
Here's Gordon on the jet sweep. Now, Gary Anderson was hired as the head coach, and he is on the sideline. This is a man who did a remarkable job at Utah State. Their first 11-win season. Almost beat the Badgers.
Hey, SAE, if you still got a chapter there, the ex-wife school, Sigma Alpha, Epsilon.
And he's done a great job. He beat Alabama as one of the assistant coaches in a Sugar Bowl. This is a
best party fraternity there in Logan, Utah.
By Barry Alvarez.
Barry Alvarez lost a great one in Brett Beal.
At least it was back then.
A great one in Gary Anderson. By the way, used to work for Urban Meyer, obviously, while I was out in Utah.
Monte Ball.
A combination of Wisconsin getting more confident, getting more aggressive on defense with their linebackers and safeties against all year, where they love to get the tight ends isolated and put him one-on-one. Tololo at 6'8", again, Ertz at 6'6". He's just got to make the right read, and Tololo just a little bit too high, tries to extend himself. And you like what Hogan's thinking. I got a guy at 6'8". Let's put it up in the air high where he's got a chance to make the play. But that is a huge stop by Wisconsin with 4:26 to go in this game.
Now it's Jordan Williamson, 22-yard attempt. Zaklinski, the punter, will put it down. That's for the Badgers. And now second down at midfield. Clock winds down close to 2 minutes now.
Aberderis at the bottom, one-on-one with the freshman.
Phillips fires middle, intercepted. Picked off at the 41-yard line by Uswa Amanam, who has made a couple of big plays in this. Remember way back in the first half when they missed an interception? Well, they didn't miss this time. Amanam, and that's the first turnover of this very well-played Rose Bowl game.
Brent, it's a great interception by Amanam. But let's also give credit to the defensive line. Josh Morrow in the middle gets his hands up right there and knocks that ball away. The deflection at the line of scrimmage by Morrow. It's been tough sledding for both teams.
One field goal here. The second half of this ball game. Third down. Now Hogan. Taylor's behind Hewitt. Taylor for the first down easily.
Boom to the hay, all you sports fans out there in the Tubosphere. Welcome to the One-Man Sports Rant. Gen 2.0. I am your host, Will, the alternative ESPN, and every other network that we cover, Sports Thrill, specializing in college football and basketball and all of the other sporting events in their singular nature, such as they may occur. Why such an emphasis on the college sports? I was a linebacker and off guard at the collegiate level, however short-lived. Blew up both my ankles. Never was able to realize my sports prowess. Walked on in both events, but I was a non-traditional student, so I sort of screwed up high school, got my act together, got my butt back into college, and so I had to go that route. And I still suffer from those ankles. But the point is, I did not utilize my, stay in school, by the way, high school-wise, sports abilities to the best of their abilities, because street ball wise, you know, I got a reputation still back where I was playing. So I'm not a spring chicken, but I'm not you know, going through a midlife crisis either. It's the best of both, the maturity with still the physical ability and speed to understand it all, I guess. Alright, so you heard from Accept, the original balls to the wall. It's going to be able to lead into for the rest of college football. By the way, this is the shorty version. This is the post-review show, as introduced by our Pi Kappa Alpha House Sweethearts, U of U chapter, Alpha Tau, giving you props. Alright, so what do I mean by all this? You know, if you saw on the timestamp this video being 10 to 11 minutes thereabouts, this is the post-review show, which is what I mean by those graphics that I included. Much like when you go to a live theater, stage, show, and it's kind of sucking, people with class, you don't walk out on it until intermission. So, I understand if I'm talking to only 2 or 5 people, because this show may not be your cup of tea. But it is the post-review. You already saw all the clips, you know, to the sporting event that we were discussing about, and I'm not going to get into it more specifically, because again, this is the baseline show, and I'll get into the legalities as to why that is in a moment. I did used to run a law firm, so to those of you still listening, stick around because you'll learn something about the particulars of YouTube. But for the shows, you know, 15 minutes or longer, it's a totally different intro than what I'm doing right now. All right. So why bother doing a show, you may ask? Because the ship has sailed, in the sense of just trying to piggyback on somebody else's network and going beyond the 5 to 7 minute mark and just trying to put that up as not necessarily your own, but obviously from somebody else. You try to give them credit on YouTube. I'm sure you may have seen this several times. Your longer clips, say like beyond the 4 minute mark, where all they're showing is like the channel immediately. That does not cover the legalities of it. What are the legalities I'm discussing? It's a little thing called the DCMA, the Digital Copyright Millennium Act. And the key tenets that we adhere to on the OMSR are, as they were hashed out through WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization: fair use standard, minimal use, derivatives, and no money exchange in hands. Of course, that last one's a given, but it's also important. But it's a given here because, as you can see, the OMSR is a pro bono production. We adhere strictly to that. And on that note, as well, all images you see on the OMSR, not procured or produced, 2-minute warning, so I'll go over on time, by the OMSR, were obtained through the public domain. So anybody out there saying, hey, Will, you're kind of using an image that we don't necessarily approve of, fine. Watch my dust, I'll take it down, excuse me, readjust it. The only sucky thing about that is you'll lose all the hits when you go to re-upload the same thing, plus the interest lanes on that particular event. But that's not important as opposed to what I just said. Alright, and on that note, this show is copyright to the OMSR. Brief video highlights courtesy to the networks already discussed through Will, the Alternative Sports Pro. The OMSR does not own these video highlights, but does own all the other original content and the overall concept herein, thereof, therefore, most rights reserved. Alright, so on that note, the 2-minute warning, we go back to our musical lead into Accept. The original to the nth degree, balls to the wall. Perfect theme music for closing out college football. You got to play balls to the wall to get a winning record, to get to a better bowl, or BCS consideration. Alright, so pay attention to the end graphic at the end of the show. VAC chart from the state of California DMV. They will throw the book at you. Worst state in the union, or best, toughest, whatever you want to call it. You get a DUI. You can pause it, freeze frame it, see X amount of drinks, your body type, no X amount of activity. Alright, thanks for watching. Later days, and only a few more college football plays.